Thank you. Hi, I'm Galia. I'm with Community Connect. Community Connect is an app for social workers. We started at a group called Revere Cares. It's part of MGH and it's based in Revere. It's this clinic. So let's imagine you're a social worker and a young mom comes into your clinic. Her kid's sick and that's why she comes in. But as talking to her, you find out she has some other needs. She works at a server, but she can't work full time because of childcare. She says she doesn't know where the next meal might come from, and she's living at a friend's place in Revere, and that's reasonably stable, but she doesn't want to be there forever. And so you want to help her. And so as someone who works in Revere, you know all of the resources that are in Revere that can help your client. And the way you organize the information is going to vary from social worker to social worker and clinic to clinic, but often what we've found is it's kind of a mishmash, binders and brochures and all this, and so you're going to go and you're going to look up your information. You're going to make photocopies, you're going to maybe do a printout from a website, and you're going to give her some notes to take home, maybe help book her an appointment or something. And then once she leaves, you as a social worker also want to update her case file to explain what her situation is currently, what resources you've pointed her at. And all of this takes time, and just social workers are almost always overburdened, so the point of Community Connect is to save social workers as much time as we can. And so the way we do that is we take this mishmash of resources and we put it in one centralized spot so the social workers all can share resources among each other, and also so that they can sort of collaborate together to make sure the resources are as up to date as possible. You know, if like a job placement service closes, you don't want to send your client there. So to make it as easy as possible to not only keep this information as up to date as possible, but as easy to disseminate both to your client and then also into their case file as possible by keeping it in one centralized spot. And so this is what the app looks like. Let's see if this works, and if it doesn't, that's fine. So this is what it looks like. So if she comes in, you listen and you're like, oh, okay, she mentioned she's having a food insecurity, so you might add a food pantry, is good. She needs some childcare, and Adventures in Learning will be a helpful place for her. And then lastly, she's looking for housing, and she does want to stay in Revere, so you recommend this to her. These go into the cart. These resources then can get sent to her in this unique URL, and this is what you'll send to her through whatever mechanism you want. There's no logins, there's no privacy concerns or anything like that. We want to keep this as simple as possible, and we've designed this part of it to look as good as we can on mobile, because we found that a lot of the folks coming in here maybe are actually going to be accessing this information on their phone, but they don't have a desktop computer wherever they're staying. So the way we, sorry about that. So the way we store all this information is kind of what makes us unique. So we don't have any database, and what that means is we're really lightweight and easy to put up. Everything's stored in a Google spreadsheet, which is great. They handle all of our permissions around the social workers, things like that. We have this vetting column and the vetting date to help make sure the information stays as up to date as possible. And any social worker who's trusted can come in and add stuff, and then other people can come in and do the vetting process separately. We found that a lot of these clinics have interns that come in, maybe high school level, and they will just go and that'll be their project to vet this. The system has been tested before. Prosper Community was a resource to help refugees prosper in Europe, and Seeking Shelter is scattered across 17 US cities, helping people find homeless shelters. And they use the same concept. In fact, Seeking Shelter was the original code base for this project. When it came to Code for Boston, on my lunch break, I took the Revere database, which was a spreadsheet, and I just made a couple tweaks, and it worked perfectly. So we've sort of seen the same pattern of data in a Google spreadsheet over and over again, and we just want to empower the people who are already tracking stuff in that spreadsheet to be able to display it. It's used right now in Revere, Chelsea, the University of Vermont Medical Center. Fenway Health is starting a pilot with us. We have a lot of resources vetted. We've done focus groups all across Boston and then also in Vermont to make sure we're making the right tool for our end users. We've presented at the MIT Education Forum, and we recently were recognized as a nonprofit by Massachusetts, and we're applying for federal status. And why this is exciting is, while we started in Revere working for this one nonprofit, what we really want to do is we want to grow this. There's so many community health centers in Massachusetts that are interested in this. We want to talk to them. We want to look at their spreadsheets. We want to look at their data. We want to help them out and grow that even more nationally. So thank you. And this is us from our launch party. Yeah.
How do you determine who gets access to the spreadsheet to like verify or input or delete?
Yeah. So for the live stream, the question was, who do we decide gets access to the spreadsheet for verification? So the clinics are going to decide that. So at Revere, there's like a trusted maybe 3 or 4 people that actually update that spreadsheet. So they decide who gets permissions. We did experiment with a system where you could submit via Google Forms suggested resources. They would come in as unvetted, and then interns could, or whoever could come and vet them for you as well. Yep.
Is it, does each clinic have their own spreadsheet of resources, or is it shared between all of them?
Yeah, right now they have their own. We've been doing some experimenting, trying to like allow resource sharing, but there's not like demand for it, so it's more just like a thought experiment. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you guys thought about trying to like tie in with other POI databases and things like that, just to sort of like automatically keep track of when services close and just like hours and things like that?
So the question was if we are trying to integrate with other point of interest databases so that we'll know as if services close. We're not. I think part of the power of this is it's super lightweight to run. Like there is no database. It's just a Google spreadsheet and then just some static HTML that knows how to look at that spreadsheet, use the Google Sheets API and show it in a way that's useful to people. And so by keeping it really simple, you know, like that just enables it to be used more. It's like a good idea, and like we do kind of want to do it honestly. It's just we're not like there, and that's not how our infrastructure is set up, and being nimble has been helpful.